Hey guys, it's Terry here from Money Matters for Everybody. Today, I want to talk to you about how to create a budget. And I don't want to just talk about it. I'm going to try to show you how to create a budget. But first, why should you create a budget? Well, quite simply, creating a budget is the very first step to winning with money. Who doesn't want to win with money? You work hard for your money, so let's make sure your money is working hard for you. The best way to do that is to get out of debt, build up your savings, both short and long term. And these things are easier to accomplish when you create a budget. You can budget using a pen and paper, using a spreadsheet, or by using an app. Our family uses the free EveryDollar app. I feel like a broken record. I've said that about 1,000,000 times now. Free, and it's an app, so it can go with you wherever your phone goes. I'm going to go ahead and share my desktop, and we'll start with showing you the EveryDollar app. So give me just a second here. I did set up a budget in the EveryDollar app. Out of the way. There we go. Okie doke. So this is the EveryDollar app at everydollar.com. And it's super simple. You can go ahead and sign up. Again, it's free. Say that 1,000,001 times. You can go to everydollar.com and go ahead and sign up and go ahead and get started. So we're looking at a budget that I set up for February. And very first thing we're going to do is going to type in our planned income. You can have one line per check. You could group all of your checks that you expect together, whatever works for you. And you're going to hear me say that over and over again. Whatever works for you works for this process. And then you're going to go through each of the categories. Now, our family, I have a video coming up where I talk about tithing and what it's meant for us. So we give 10% to our church every month. And so I just pop that in as 10%. The next step down is saving. So we talked about, if you've listened to me talk about the video with my kids, like giving, saving, spending, like we kind of go through that order. And that's likely why this is set up the way that it is. But if you have money that has to get dedicated to the emergency fund, or you have a vacation or wedding or an event coming up, a birthday party, you can go ahead and add an item for your savings and kind of dedicate money to that. You can also, I think, go ahead and set it up as like a fund in the app and kind of drop money into that fund each month until you have met the amount. We do that for Christmas. And then the next bucket that you have, I've actually put this in and I changed this to food, shelter, clothing, and transportation. If you've ever listened to, I think Chris Hogan at Ramsey used to talk about the four walls. So food, shelter, clothing, and transportation. So here you go through and you put in your mortgage or your rent, and then your utilities, internet and cable, phone, trash, electricity. Electricity is painful around here lately. And then if you have a car payment, you can put that in here. Car insurance, gasoline, life insurance. You could move these line items down here. So you could set up as many groups as you'd like, whatever works for you. Again, whatever's going to work for you, make it work for you. And then the next category they have set up here is spending. And I've deleted a couple things out of here, but groceries, restaurants, clothing, non-groceries, fun and entertainment, miscellaneous, because something always pops up, right, each month. And then they have a group for debt. And we'll talk about that in a bit. You can add as many groups as you need to. And then over here, it'll kind of show you like each of your categories. This is kind of cool on the app when you look at it to see where where your money's going, which is really cool. But I want to take a step back for just a second and we talked about if you wanted to get out of debt, or if you're working on the Dave Ramsey plan, one of your first steps is building your emergency fund. So and we recommend in the first month that you set aside as quickly as possible $1,000 for your emergency fund. Well, say you already have that set up. Now your next step is to go on and list your debt from smallest to largest payment, pay your debt on the minimum, pay the minimum on your, say, your second, third, fourth, fifth, and beyond. But the first debt, the smallest debt, you want to attack that. So in this example I gave is like debt number one, $500. That's the total balance. I'm going to put $100 towards debt number one this month. I have an every dollar budget. It's in there. And I'm going to pay minimums on debt 3 and 4 and 5. I'm going to pay minimums on 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to put the rest of what I have available towards debt number 2. This is super, super easy way to kind of set this up and get yourself out of debt. So hopefully that has been helpful to you. And as you're going through spending, you can go ahead in through the app and you can put in your expenses, like how much you're spending. And I'm trying to see transactions. So as you go through and you say, okay, I have $500, you can go ahead and add your transaction. I'm usually on the app, so I don't, excuse me, you can go plus, you can say 500, whoop, and then you can track it. And you'll see that you've spent 500, you planned 500, you spent 500. Now, say you're at the grocery store, you're at Aldi, and you go, okay, I'm at Aldi, and I am going to spend a little bit of money here. And you say, I can spend $50 tonight. This is Friday. And track your expense, and it'll tell you that you have $350 remaining. Super, super nice. So the next thing I'm actually going to show you is working in a spreadsheet. And I created a spreadsheet not too long ago. Oops, see, I get to share this up share. And you're going to share screen again. Excellent. So here you can kind of see very similar spreadsheet. I've used spreadsheets quite a bit for quite a few different things. And similar philosophy as the app. The app is just, it's in your hand. It's like so much easier. And it's real time. And I can use the app and Tim can use the app. Like we could be at 2 completely different stores. And as long as, you know, we're usually connected to the Wi-Fi because our cell phone bill is by the gig. And so we want to be, connected to the Wi-Fi as often as possible. We don't want to use LTE or data. So you can go ahead in and you can plug in how much you spent. And if we're in 2 different stores and we plug in what we're spending, piece of cake, like it all gets recorded. So that's pretty cool, I think, in real time. So I can be in Aldi and he can be someplace else and we can type our numbers in and go, ooh, like somebody spent a lot of money. We have to cut back on the food budget the rest of the month. Super helpful. So again, you can put in your planned income and your planned expenses rolling through your list. Obviously prioritizing to make sure you get your $1,000 starter emergency fund, making sure that you work your debt snowball and setting aside any money for vacation or Christmas or any other savings funds. And voila, your budget is all put together. Again, I want to talk very briefly about by doing these things, we get on a budget and we get out of debt and we build our emergency fund. We are creating margin. And you work too hard to have your money just fly out the window. You too. I talked about recently, like this, I never had this, you only live once mentality, but I did have this, like, I shouldn't have to budget. I have had this very specific conversation about I shouldn't have to budget. Like I make plenty of money. I shouldn't have to create a budget. But the reality is it doesn't matter if you make $1,000 or a paycheck or $10,000 a paycheck or $100,000 a paycheck. If you're not budgeting and you're not telling your money where to go, it's like evaporating from you. And we don't want that because God wants something greater for you and gives you the blessings of being able to make money because he trusts you to be a good steward with it and to be able to spend it wisely and bless others with it. And it's just such a huge benefit. So money and time are limited resources. And when we're younger, chances are we can work hard, work more, pay off debt, save more. And if we set ourselves up wisely, we can go ahead into the next phase of our life, maybe work less, maybe enjoy life a little bit more. Budgeting at first can feel hard. It can feel challenging. It can create these feelings that just, I'm going to say, like, they come from the devil. I'm going to put it out there just like that. Some feelings of inadequacy or vulnerability. No, tell it not today. Not today. I am putting together a budget and I am good enough and I am adequate enough. That's what you need to tell yourself. Putting together a budget to create a plan for my family. I'm putting together a budget to get out of debt, build my savings so I can create a legacy for my family. Those messages. If you feel inadequate, just make sure you're telling yourself those same messages over and over again. I have some notes, so let me just see. When we create a budget, we get out of debt, we build savings, we balance our time and our money. When couples win with money, oh my goodness. When you first start budgeting, again, it's going to feel difficult. At first, it'll feel challenging, but you will get over it. You will overcome that. I can guarantee you. Within 3 cycles, you'll get over it. Especially if you use the Every Dollar app, you'll get over it. He talked about previously how when we set this up and I asked him if we could budget, and he was begrudging about it because he had the same philosophy. We didn't feel like we needed to budget. But by the second or third month, I knew he was on board because his expenses for the running shoes were in the budget. And I was like, yes, we're winning here. But when couples win with money, families win with money, communities win with money. And I'm just telling you, there's no greater feeling in the world. So I hope that this was helpful to you. We can go into a little bit of troubleshooting. I do try to keep my videos about 10 minutes. I'm probably over that at this point. But we want to talk about, so what happens if we have too much month and not enough money? Well, that's pretty simple. You're either going to have to decrease your expenses or increase your income. You get to decide, though. It's all in your court. You get to decide. And then we're going to talk about what happens, when you're looking at each month, you're putting together your budget and you're looking. And simply by putting together your budget and looking at the line items and looking where you're spending money, you might think, whoa, what is happening? Like, why am I spending so much money on subscriptions or takeaway or coffee out? And you see it on paper. And I previously talked about this, how when we first started getting out of debt, the first budget we put together based on last month's budget, we realized how much money we were spending on food. Oh, that was embarrassing. That was completely embarrassing. And to think that just adds up. Google opportunity cost. You never look at money the same once you get out of debt. You never look at money the same. Never again. So I hope that this is helpful. I hope that you are inspired. I hope that you feel confident that you can create a budget, that you can win with money. I hope you believe those things are true for you, because they are. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. I'll put some contact options in the description below, but you can leave a comment. You can send an email. If you need help creating a budget or getting on a plan to get out of debt, if you need motivation, you need an accountability partner, I do offer coaching services, so I'd be happy to set up a free consultation with you and see if we're a good fit. And I'll leave a description and a couple of additional pieces of information and resources in the description box below. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.